I've always loved the M35 Mako. It's got heart, you know?
Oh, come on. The M44 Hammerhead is vastly superior.
Come on, that thing's made of tissue paper. At least the Mako can take a few hits.
I'd hope so. That thing handles like a drunk rhino. No agility whatsoever.
More like a bull that can climb and climb for days.
It only climbs because of its stupid, vertically aligned Mass Effect fields. Jump or stick. No speed. No lateral movement.
Hey, with a cannon like that, who needs to move?
If you want that, why don't you just stick with the old M29 Grizzly?
Hey, I love that tank.
You would be one to love grizzly bears, Mr. Vega.
What? What's so funny?
Yeah, so now all we need is a gun that fires thresher maws.
That was a joke.
Hello everyone, welcome to another round of Arbitration Studios as we conquer the whole damn thing of the Mass Effect trilogy and Mass Effect 3. I'm JP Arbiter.
And I'm Captain Jack.
And we have got a new mission here regarding... So the Asari want us to do something, and it's a little weird. We got a little bit of cleanup that we got to do on the ship first, so do pardon our dust. First off, we haven't talked with Javik here all that often. So it's sort of it's good to get his perspective every now and then on things. I forget. All right. Apparently, I did this after I did the Cerberus research quest. So yeah. So I guess. And when we recorded the Cerberus researchers thing, I implied that we did this mission first. So there's going to be a little discontinuity there.
Well, it's not like we care.
No.
I mean, come on. We're middle-aged guys. We're just, and we're doing something for our own.
I'm a husband to one, a father of two. I'm romantically interested in pancakes, and I'm a giant robot fetishist. Okay, I am so far out of my depth with this series, and yet here we are.
And yet here we are.
And you're barking up the wrong tree, Kenan. Not our type.
But no, it's I'll tell you, not having a Quarian down here just kind of.
Well, we'll solve that.
Okay.
We will fix that. But we want to do all this first in order to give us as much of a leg up on the business as possible. So
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
yeah, I ended up talking to the engineers at this point because I thought I still had their thermal pipe thing to do, but apparently that's already done.
I mean, it's weird. I thought the like quote unquote side quests in 3 were kind of it was weird. Like sometimes they wouldn't even let you know that you'd accomplished it and you needed to go deliver whatever item it was that you found.
There's a mod out there, and granted that doesn't apply to me because I play on a console, but there's a mod out there that apparently puts Diana Allers in much more sensible clothing.
Yeah,
Cargo pants, a tank top, and a jacket.
I do. Usually embedded reporters will not be
In a pencil skirt.
Yeah.
That looks like it's made out of fetish latex.
I mean, it's sci-fi, so everything looks like it's made out of fetish latex. I mean,
Actually, that's one thing that I really love about. I can't comment on on Turian uniforms because, for all I know, those things are drastically comfortable for them.
yeah,
Because alien physiology and whatnot.
absolutely.
But I do have to say that, considering that the modern DoD uniforms across all service branches are made from polyester,
Actually, yeah.
polyester, sackcloth, and the tears of 1,000 E4s.
I mean, yes, kind of. I mean,
Quick question, by the way.
Yeah.
And I know you were Air Force, not Navy.
Yeah.
But does the Navy actually have a guy on a ship whose sole purpose is just to wander around and salute a superior officer, and that's all their job is?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I work with a lot of Navy folks, and I have spoken with a lot of Navy folks. And
Double check with them.
that I will do that. I think maybe that's one of those, one of those things that is told as a joke.
He's, and probably he's the ship's like custodian or something.
Yeah.
He's on KP duty.
Something like that. Like I said, I know more about the Army and the Air Force than I do about the Navy and the Marines. All I know about the Marines is that the red crayons taste the best. That's
Oh, there was a joke, by the way, where Katy Perry and some journalist both went up in low orbit.
Yeah.
Fairly recently at the time of recording, and I think it was a journalist actually who said that, who was like trying to insist that she was an astronaut now.
Yeah, she said Katy Perry, they kind of, the whole thing applied, well, we're astronauts now. I don't think Katy Perry ever said, I'm an astronaut.
I think it was a journalist,
Yeah.
something was her name. And the other thing is that there were 2 actual scientists on that trip. It wasn't just a bunch of celebrities.
Right.
Now, it was a majority celebrity crew, which kind of pisses me off, but that's another discussion for another time. But the whole thing of, I went up into space, I'm an astronaut. You got to the bare minimum of space there, sweetheart. And but the joke that I saw on the TikToks or something was someone saying if she qualifies as an astronaut, pulls out a pack of crayons and takes a bite out of one on camera. Which had to taste horrible. That I'm a Marine.
Yeah, by the way, all Mill Talk and all the veteran talk and all the veteran creators and whatnot, love that joke. Love that joke. Especially the Marines.
And here's one of the big things on why I wanted to have a cleanup, and we can talk about, frankly, my favorite side character. Or supporting character.
Oh, Dr. Chocolates?
Yes.
There is, so here's my thing. There is one trope in sci-fi that I feel like is never grows old to me, and never it never feels out of place. It never feels old. It never feels overused, and that is the ship's doctor who can tell the captain
sit the fuck down.
Who can tell the captain the truth and doesn't care about rank and doesn't care about anything and is in fact the doctor.
And and the thing is that the long-standing gold standard of that is, of course, Commander James McCoy.
That is correct.
Beverly Crusher was like that, but in a different sense.
Yes.
Because she was because she was able to tell people what she wanted or what she thought through empathy.
Yeah.
Not through I'm right.
Yeah. No. Different styles of bedside manner, if you will.
My favorite though is probably the Doctor from Battlestar Galactica, who was a chain smoker.
Yeah, he was. I liked him. He was fantastic. I actually, believe it or not, and one of the, I feel like somewhere within the creation of Mass Effect, somebody was influenced by Babylon 5.
I barely recall the Doctor from Babylon 5, but that wasn't my show.
Yeah, he was the first time they had an asshole. Like a legitimate, like he just wasn't a really good dude. Like he was narcissistic and he was kind of all over the place and kind of did things his own way and kind of wasn't on board with everything really and just kind of. But I liked
begging for a reassignment.
Yeah, but I liked him. I liked it because of that, because he was more human, because he wasn't this, because he wasn't necessarily happy to be there. He wasn't necessarily a friendly person. He wasn't necessarily a likable person. Say what you want about Bones. Yeah, he was crotchety, but he was likable. Pulaski.
Pulaski is such an underutilized character, and I fucking hated to high heaven that she didn't get a chance in the spotlight in the 3rd season of Picard.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I know it was a Jean-Luc and Crusher story.
Yeah.
I get that. But I mean, they even had the lieutenant that was the expert on the Borg in so much as there could have been an expert on the Borg at the time who was like captain of the Enterprise F, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
And she was an admiral at that point. She got a moment in the spotlight.
Yep.
It's Dr. Pawlowski.
Yeah.
Oh,
I hope we can trust a bunch of extras.
oh, wait, wrong scene. Sorry. Something that's not going to happen until we get to the Korean War.
Right.
But because I mean, anyway, Pulowski was only there for one season, the second season, and that was because Gates McFadden thought she had a long-term gig somewhere else that was going to pay more, and then she got that for a season, and then her character was kind of like, well, shit, I need a job.
Well, and keep in mind that Gates McFadden had a whole other career as a choreographer, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, she's a ballerina, isn't she?
A dancer, yeah. I'm not sure if ballerina, but I do know that she's a dancer and a choreographer. Honestly, I really liked the space stuff, like traveling around in space. In it.
The interface has always been wonderful. It's only ever gotten better. It's actually, I bitched like everyone else in Andromeda that you couldn't like. That the transfer between planets in the same solar system took too long.
Yeah.
But it was a gorgeous sequence.
Right? It really did look good. Like, say what you want. It looked good.
So the whole reason that you have the slow walk of it in 2 and 3 is because these are times where you have to carefully husband resources, so they make you fuel conscious, even though if you play it right, you never need to be.
Right.
So like I get why that's a thing, but they did away with that in Andromeda, made it more like Mass Effect 1, but with gorgeous transitions.
Oh, visually, Andromeda's stunning. And it is, and we'll discuss this when we go into Andromeda. But it's visually stunning. All of the games really are visually stunning. They just get better as the games go on.
So anyway, once again, we have Best Friend Squad 2.0, not 1.0. 1.0 is always better. But
very true.
Brought Liara because we're going into an Asari facility, so she can provide valuable context. Bring Garrus for a very special reason we will talk about later. So,
I do love Garrus.
And frankly, Garrus has the anti-tank rifle, which could come in handy if we encounter any horribly mutated, awful things.
And, there's always the chance of horribly mutated, awful things, like JD Vance.
Fortunately, we're not going to encounter a couch.
Lucky for the couch. But anyway,
a couple of love seats, some chaise lounges, a tete-a-tete, a recliner or two.
Oh,
but no couches.
Yeah,
no full couches.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. We are, in fact, fortunate.
I also love this because this is like the first time in a while where we are not in a hot drop.
Right?
This is an investigation.
Yep. I like it. A little calm.
Put your hand on that hood. Oh my God, it's still warm.
Somebody's here. And we're gonna move around. Here we are.
Something about those shuttles, which are they're like the Chevy Malibu of this universe. Yeah, just like
they're the flying car we were promised.
Yeah, but flying cars are stupid.
You're not gonna get an argument out of me. But
the air traffic control, we can barely get motherfuckers to be able to navigate safely in 2 dimensions, and now you want to add a third?
You're not getting an argument.
I got into a car wreck recently because some guy decided to wrench over 4 lanes, not paying a lick of attention to the fact that there was 3 other cars, one of them being me.
Hey, you will get no argument with me that flying cars are stupid. I'm just saying.
The fact of the matter is that we were promised them.
Yeah, and we were promised them. And and much like the Joker and his electric car, we have not received our flying cars.
So if this is a monastery, then why the for the so one, it's inherently a religious institution. Because I guess that's the best way to enforce, for one better way to put it, celibacy among people with space aids. Then it's like, why are there weapons everywhere? And I guess you could justify that as this was shit that was dropped by the Asari commandos.
Possibly.
So we never really know this because we never really see it. We see Fleet and Flotilla a couple of times, but Vania is that like, what kind of movie do you think that is? Do you think it's like deep romance, or do you think it's more soap opera-y?
I think it's porn.
I don't know what I expected.
It should have been that.
I don't know why I didn't expect this from you. We're friends for a reason.
It's true.
Son of a bitch.
You're just mad you didn't think of it first.
Yes. Yes.
So this is one of those missions that is easily missed in the game.
Uh-huh.
And is easily glossed over.
Anything useful?
And it's
which
is sad, because it's actually a pretty solid run, and it's actually a pretty solid story.
And it's a great
goes into
little it's a great little taste of what like a survival horror Mass Effect game would be like.
Going into the fact that I believe that this style and these guys could make any kind of game they wanted, whether it be a survival horror, whether it be a zombie horror, whether it be whatever it is, they could do it. And I think that that would definitely be possible. So I like these. I agree with you. I think the little snippets of showing that it could be done is pretty excellent.
I do gotta say this, and yeah, it's unfortunate for me that I didn't think to actually freeze frame on the window right here, but yeah, I like to style myself as a desert rat in terms of places I like to live, mostly because I'm sick of living in the swamp that we live in.
Fair enough.
But I gotta be honest with you, if I had to live in this place, I wouldn't mind it. Hello, Samami.
Hey, Billie Eilish's mom. Yeah, that's the thing. Look it up.
So, welcome back to our old friend.
Honestly, one of my favorite companions, simply because of her moral and ethical stance and how solid of an individual she is.
Well, I made the comment when we were doing Mass Effect 2 that Samara comes to us as a fully realized character.
Yeah.
She has her personality has developed as far as it's going to develop, and now it's only how the situations that she comes into contact with interact with that completed development.
Yeah.
And that's just how people are as they get older, is that sooner or later they stop developing, they stop, I don't want to say stop learning, but you can't really shift your stance on stuff as you get older. And the fact that it's fused in the manner of a moral code,
Let's go.
for how she's supposed to interact with the world, a religious code. I think what it does is that it helps solidify how immovable it is. Because if it was just her being a stubborn bitch,
Right.
then she wouldn't be endearing.
Right. Having a code like that is an endearing quality. It's I think there's a line from Braveheart which goes which basically ends, "So does a dog." It's that loyalty. It's that unquestioning commitment to your core values that is very, very endearing. And I could you could go less wrong, like being compared loyalty wise to a dog is probably the best comparison you can make. That's probably the best compliment you can get, to be compared that way.
Well, dogs are decent people.
Indeed, as opposed to people who are not decent people.
No.
But I do think that the artists did a really decent job with this one.
Yeah.
Because you get the kind of
It's not snow packed either.
No.
And part of that is probably whatever sci-fi bullshit systems are allowing the snow to fall without it being obtrusive.
Yep.
It's not gross and slushy either. There's the oh my god, what the hell is that? Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it now! Get it! No, saggy titty Asari zombie thing. Oh my god, what? Oh!
I didn't know my ex-wife was in this game.
Oh, thank God she doesn't listen.
I mean,
you wouldn't care, but yeah.
I mean,
It's more like I don't want her to be contacting me like, why do you make these jokes?
I think
Because, sweetheart, you know I'm a terrible human being.
I think that it's perfectly reasonable to make ex-wife jokes in America, even if you don't have an ex-wife. I mean, nobody knows if I do or don't.
Well, now they do.
I mean, now they do, but you get my point. It's a good
I
joke.
think we made them before.
We've made them often. I mean,
So,
there's a reason why I like Krogan.
so anyway, Banshees.
Banshees, just why? Like, just hideous. Just like, this is body horror that's just very disturbing.
Well, yeah, but in terms of mechanics, I mean, first off, I love the fact that they are the Vanguard game style for the creatures. They have that charge ability. They have an insta-kill ability, which makes our Charge and Nova gameplay style very troublesome.
Right?
It's possible to work with it, but you gotta once you charge, you gotta like backtrack, then Nova in, then roll out of the way again.
Right? Yeah. It's best just to shoot them, I think.
Yeah,
Repeatedly.
until they die from it. Kill them until they are dead.
Kill them until they are dead. I believe that is the appropriate
I do like the in terms of their visual design, I do like the fact that they stretch the Asari until they're 8 foot tall monsters.
Yeah.
And turn their hair all their flappy flaps all spike.
Yep. I also appreciate that they still got the cake. Yeah. You know how I am.
The damage over time mechanic and the fact that it is a bitch of a homing projectile.
Right. Yeah.
So that way your choices are either take cover or be very good at the last minute dodge.
Right.
They
Or be very, very, very tough.
What it amounts to is that the Banshees are very good at forcing your hand to move. Yeah, the Marauders and the Cannibals are great at standard shooter tactics between grenades, shields, laying down suppressive fire. They're all good. The big Krogan things are, well, they're big Krogan things. They're living battering rams.
They're good at sex.
And they're God damn it, Josh. Anyway,
sorry. That one
was completely unnecessary.
unnecessary.
But I'm leaving it in.
Completely.
So, but the point is that they become the Banshees and the Brutes. That's what they're called. Are things you have to deal with right away.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to deal with them in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
and they force you to deal with them in different ways too. So, and then of course the Arachni are, they're the machine gunners. They're there to keep you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that way everything else can attack you. I still think it is a lost opportunity to have an upscaled version of the Rachni and have that be an Elcor.
Oh, yes. No lie. No lie there. Yes.
Especially if it's an Elcor like hybridized with a Volus, the same way that the Brutes are Krogan hybridized with a Turian.
Yes. No.
So-
No question. I think that would be a great idea. That would have been a great option. Maybe we'll see it in 5.
Well, but we won't be seeing Reapers in 5 because the whole point is that the Reapers are taken care of.
Yes, we won't be seeing Reapers, but we might be seeing Reaper technology. Ooh. Dum, dum, dum.
Ah, sweet Jesus, I hope not.
I mean, you never know.
One of the entire points of this of our run is to take Reaper influence on the galaxy as off the board as possible.
Yeah.
Which is why we make some of the decisions that we make, particularly a very important one coming up, but I don't want to spoil it. So, anywho, as we go down, you can see how there was starting to be a fight, between the scorch marks everywhere, between the barricades that are piled up, and more Asari bodies. It's
Yeah.
I do love how the fight stays on the lower levels, that it's not, while it's not peaceful upstairs, it doesn't look that bad from up there.
Right?
So, pause and read this at your pleasure while we move.
We move on. Moving on down the road.
So apparently, the Art at Yakshi thing, we had this big conversation about it, and the big comparison that I gave was that it was essentially like space HIV. But it was genetic, with the exception of it one being genetic, not viral, and then 2, it being only Asari. Who get it? They just kill everyone else who comes into contact with it.
Right.
So
They're more carriers.
But apparently, like, it's a whole. It's not like not all Art at Yakshi are the. Yeah, you mate with them and they will give you a stroke as a result, sort of thing. Like, there's a whole spectrum of Art at Yakshi disorder if you read the lore on it. It's like, I don't quite get it, and it's. And if that was the case, then holy crap, it makes the Asari, I want to say, policy. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it makes the whole Asari policy of isolating them all the more impractical.
Well, yeah, it's so. Anytime you have a situation where you have something like this and then you judge an entire group of people by it, you're going to end up making mistakes. You're going to end up making a lot of mistakes because that's that's what happens when you don't judge people as on individual basis. Because not everybody's going to always fit into the little box that you want them to fit in.
I mean, I want to fit inside Samara's box, but
there you go. See, that's how it's done.
I'm trying.
It's okay.
I'm trying to be as horrible as you.
I appreciate.
I never
that.
will be, but
no.
No, it takes years of practice.
Takes years of practice and a horrible ex-wife. Yes. But again, this is, like we said, this is a great little kind of almost survival horror type deal where we're moving around this building and we're kind of not necessarily seeing the waves of monsters that we normally see, or the waves of enemies that we normally see. We're kind of they're kind of hiding until they pop out.
This also, in my mind, extols the virtues of a linear mission.
Yes.
The whole, I mean, Ubisoft pretty much only makes one game these days, which is Far Cry, and then it's just a question of, like, what do they put what makeup do they put on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that works for them, but the thing about open worlds and open worlds all the time, and this was a problem that Andromeda had,
Yeah.
was that you have an open world with great big expanses of nothing in between little caches of content.
Yep.
This mission is tight, it's focused, you have an objective, you have supporting characters, and then when the objective is complete, it is over. And then you move on to the next bit, and the next bit is done by a couple of button presses, not by traveling the long arc of whatever in order to get there.
No lie. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that there is the whole open world idea and the whole open world thing.
And I want to emphasize that it's not a bad thing.
No, but it's good where it's good, and it doesn't need to be everywhere.
Mm-hmm. The thing about an open world, though, is that the journey is, in order for the journey to be just as good as the destination, the journey's got to be interesting.
Exactly.
If you have an open world game just to make you travel from point to point, then it doesn't work.
If you have an open world game just to say that you have an open world game, it's it is not cool.
Yeah. My favorite example of that is it's fun to pick on the Assassin's Creed games. The first and the second Assassin's Creed did very good with their open worlds because they were tight and there was a lot of stuff to do. All the other Assassin's Creeds up until you got to... Some might talk about Assassin's Creed 3, which took place during the American Revolution, but it was really Assassin's Creed Black Flag. When you got to be a pirate that dabbled in assassin stuff, that was the case of making the journey just as fun as a destination for an open world.
Well, I would also like to point out very, very importantly that anytime you get to play a pirate, you play a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
I love you.
That's the answer.
Always be not just always be fisting, but always be pirating.
Indeed.
We are going to grab that Asari booty.
Indeed.
So
right now we have very...
it's the great big it's too late for me sacrifice thing, which implies to me that a large portion of this is, for want of a better word, psychic in nature.
Yeah.
Like there's like husks become husks because of nanotechnology. That's been established. But there's some sort of, like, I don't know what is going on that makes it, quote, too late. Maybe it's the indoctrination and some fucking with their brain chemistry or whatnot, and that's what's making it too late, and thus more susceptible to be huskified. But yeah, I hate the "it's too late for me" noble sacrifice thing.
No, it's a trope. I mean, honestly, it's a trope, and I get, I get where your dislike of it comes from. I am not a fan of it either. I think there are better ways to do it.
Speaking of tropes, you can see right there from... I want to believe that Samara here at this point particularly, is we will see her not too long from now, that like the second that elevator door shuts, that she is like wrestling with the decision that she is going to be trying to make here, and we're going to say no. Because we talked earlier about the Justicars and their fixed religious code, their laws, and they do a very good job of setting this up. Like, she believes that she has to kill her own daughter, but she can't because right now she's down 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And, first off, no parent should ever face that. But then this. I gotta be honest with you, I was so tempted to let her pull the trigger on that. Because first off, it makes for just as interesting a story as
Absolutely.
as stopping her. The whole reason I don't, though, is that we've had enough death.
Yeah, you've had enough death.
We've lost too many friends as it is in this hero's journey, and and not one more. So,
And there's also what's going on here is when a rule becomes more important than what that rule was designed to stop. You know, it's like
or create.
So she comes in and she's got this rule, and it makes sense. You got to stop Ardek Yashi from getting out and terrorizing the universe and hurting people. Absolutely makes sense. But
the
does, you know, if as long as the her daughter is staying there at the monastery and she's not going out into the galaxy and she's not, you know, whatever, what have you, the law is being kept.
well, and even if she did end up going to Thessia, she is not like Morinth.
No.
She and Falere were both not like Morinth.
No, and
Or excuse me, that was Falere. I forget the other, but
also you can't spread it. It's not a contagious disease.
no, it's a recessive trait.
Yeah, so you know the law.
I joked about it being space AIDS, but it's really more like space hemophilia.
Something like that, yeah. And so it's very important to note that you should never have laws or rules that preemptively harm people.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that I think, because I expressed a lot of frustration with with the Justicar code, in our last game, and the thing is that my issue with it is that it removes the agency of those who do not adhere to it, and it instead imposes a third party's will onto people who do not subscribe to that law. And that, I mean, for crying out loud, that was what caused the first contact war in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Was you are you are capable of faster than light travel, ergo you are subject to all the laws that govern it, whether you know it or not. That's not a way to create a system of government.
No.
You know, when humanity started opening mass relays, the Turians shouldn't have responded by throwing asteroids at cities. The Asari should have responded by sending diplomats and saying, hey, we got rules that you got to obey here.
Yeah, and no one should be expected to obey rules that they themselves did not have some sort of representation in making.
Or, at the very least, they need to be educated and not slapped across the face.
Right.
Or bombarded in the city. So.
Right.
Anywho, little briefing from Admiral Lance Hendrickson, just on the state of our army before we go and visit the Quarians. I think that's a very important thing. So, any other commentary on the state of things before we go off to the Perseus Vale?
Not me.
Alrighty. So, oh, it's been a long road, but our next chapter is going to be a long time coming. It's going to answer a lot of questions. It's going to reunite us with Tally, and I'm looking forward to that. Best friend squad fully reunited
For life. Tally is your best friend, your little sister, Tally is all the good things that a companion can be. Now I am looking forward to have her and to speak about her when we do that. I'm gonna save what I want to say about her for that particular episode. And I think that she is, there are there are two companions really that are with you throughout this series. And
That's Tally and Garrus.
it's Tally and Garrus, and I think that
Liara is the next closest, because
Right.
partly because Alara is Shadowbroker, and partly because she actively assists you, even when as a non-player character.
right, exactly. But those are the two that stay on the Normandy, and that you can theoretically, you could play most of this series with just those two companions. With little bits here and there because they're not available.
Whoever joins you in Mass Effect 2 between Omega and wherever Haystrom, they're just there filling Tally's slot until you get Tally.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
but I like to keep our squads diverse because I think it tells a good story. So
diversity is strength.
Mm-hmm. Infinite diversity through infinite combinations. So, God, Lance Henriksen's voice is so epic.
It is. It makes everything.
It's gonna, James Earl Jones, before he passed away, committed a lot of time to recording voice lines, and so that way Darth Vader's voice could be synthesized indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one character. Mm-hmm. Lance Henriksen is so many characters, and it's so, like, when he eventually passed on, because that man's like 78 right now.
Something like that.
So, it is going to be a loss to both screen acting and to voice acting.
Oh, absolutely. No question. Lance Henriksen is, and I believe he's kind of in the stage of his career that Tim Curry is in.
Give me $50 and I'll do anything.
Well, more of a I'm interested only in voiceover work.
In the case of Tim Curry, it's because he's wheelchair bound.
This is true. But I think that a lot of actors nowadays, because so much voice acting,
unless it's an alien thing, Lance Henriksen will do an alien thing.
That's true. He will. Which is why with all the new alien things popping up, I'm always kind of like, are we going to get some Lance Henriksen?
This latest iteration of Mr. Wayland is just going to get older and older and older. Unless they do the digital de-aging, but that's a discussion for another time.
Indeed.
We're going to hang it up here. When we come back, we will begin what is the original in-game Act 2, which is the Gethkorian War.
Absolutely.
So, the Sunset War. So, looking forward to that one and putting an end to things. So, until then, I'm JP Arbiter.
I'm Captain Jack.
We'll be seeing you, kids.
Deuces.